We were in bed last night, and I was almost asleep when he started having sex with me. I was pretty unaroused and tired, so didn't really react or make any sound. I don't have a problem having sex late at night and don't require verbal asking of permission. It just started feeling really odd after the 2-minute mark when he was still going and I hadn't made a single sound. Sort of dissociated, thinking how weird it was, and eventually just told him to stop and went to the bathroom. I'm not a man, obviously, but I feel like I probably wouldn't be into having sex with someone that wasn't into it or remotely receptive. Is this common with men? I explained that it felt weird when I came back to bed, and he said, "Oh, sorry. How do I go about dealing with this? It seems so bizarre." Edit. I was in therapy a few months ago after having a series of panic attacks during sex because I got triggered by something and couldn't bring myself to say no for some reason. He knows about this, so it feels somewhat relevant that he kept going anyway without stopping to ask if I was okay. Editing again to say I made it crystal clear I was unhappy with what happened before I left the bedroom and wasn't remotely happy about it. My parting words were, "That was weird. I'm a human being, not a fucking fleshlight. What the fuck was that?" Please like and subscribe to support the channel. Added comments. Commenter. I usually just lurk, but I've had this happen in 2 previous relationships, both long-term partners. The first began when I was really inexperienced and didn't know whether it was normal or not. That relationship was abusive in a lot of ways, controlling/manipulation/emotional, and had a really unhealthy power dynamic. I didn't realize until very late and left the relationship. He ticked all the narc boxes. Not sure if this feels familiar at all, but he would literally start whilst I was asleep. The second was similar, although not abusive, or at least I wouldn't call it that anyway. He also seemed to think consent was granted. I was in kind of a dark place, though, and probably rebounded with him. I did actually explain to him that I felt really uncomfortable with him just having sex with me whilst I was semi-asleep or just not into it, and that it felt non-consensual. He later tried to pressure me into other things I wasn't comfortable with, and I ended the relationship for various reasons, that being one. Again, he wasn't the nicest guy, and I feel like that might be a pattern tbh. I just wanted to say I've had this same thing with 2 guys, and your feeling that this is not okay is totally valid. Talk to him about it. But also maybe spend some time thinking about the rest of the relationship. Do you feel taken for granted in other ways? How does he treat you otherwise? LOL, I've been saying for a while, I feel taken for granted and unappreciated. Didn't even get me a card for Mother's Day. Commenter. Sounds like this might be more than just a sex problem. Sorry you're going through this. I'm not sure they mean to treat us like an object, but that's kind of exactly how it is. It's as if they just think you're there no matter what. Holy fuck, I was literally thinking this word for word when I opened your comment. Update May 23rd, 2024. Original post, https://www.reddit.com/r/relationship_advice/s/zabjkfxbkf. So he came home and said he wanted to find a way to resolve the situation. I asked him what the situation was, and he said he didn't know. Common theme. I explained, frustratedly, that I felt for months that I'm putting more into the relationship than him and only receiving the bare minimum. He cut me off multiple times, nitpicking random points, then eventually started raising his voice like always. I told him not to, and he stormed out of the room. Eventually stormed back in and said it was bullshit and that it's pretty fucking rich to be saying he's doing the bare minimum. Didn't get me a Mother's Day card. Didn't comfort me when I was upset the other day. I've been asking for small gestures like picking a flower off a tree on his way home for months. Still haven't got one. In response, I said it feels a bit rich to be so defensive and focusing on one specific detail of a point I'd barely started making when I've been searching for support on Reddit all day while a bunch of strangers dissect whether I got raped or not. He just lost his mind and started yelling at me about how I can go on Reddit with my little keyboard warriors, and he doesn't give a fuck because I said he does the bare minimum. Then he slammed the door and turned all the lights off outside, so I guess he's sleeping on the couch? Update*, he just got home. Gave me flowers he'd picked off a tree, and said he was sorry for the way he dealt with his anger. We don't have time to talk, Aaron, because the kids are destroying the house, so I guess I'll post another update when they're asleep and we've spoken. I'm not stupid, though. Some flowers and a 1-second apology are the bare minimum. Update 2*, kids went to bed. He sat on the couch watching YouTube videos for 3 hours and didn't say a word to me. Then he came into the bedroom and said, "I'm going to bed." I told him I'm done planning the vow renewal ceremony I've been planning entirely by myself for months that he wanted. And if he cares so much he can do it all himself, he won't. He can't. Then I left the room, and he closed the door and went to bed. That's it.
No surprises.
Just the bare fucking minimum. Final update asterisk. I feel like a blindfold's been ripped off my eyes, and am suddenly seeing all these details of prior events, and am just reeling. Like one time I think he might actually have semi-raped me when he had complete emotional leverage over me and knew it, and I felt I literally couldn't say no, and he came inside me without asking, and I just burst into tears afterwards. Ended up with a chemical pregnancy, and it was awful. Like I could go on and on him f-gayin shell-shocked are. Someone on here sent me a link to an ebook about abuse, and there were so many things in it describing his behavior, and I just feel like a fucking idiot. The time he pinned me to the floor by my shoulders and screamed in my face while our baby was watching. The time he called me a fat bitch postpartum. The time I found out while pregnant that he cheated on me prior and multiple times. I could just go on. I'll probably be deleting my account in the morning. I just can't take anymore. Thanks for the advice. Don't be a fucking idiot like me. Added comments. Commenter. Whatever you do, if you're staying for the kids, don't. Get that out of your head. Your kids will grow up seeing the way dad treats mom and think that's okay. Do you want your kids to grow up thinking that way? That that's how marriage and love should be? LOL, I left him a couple of years ago and took the kids with me. Suddenly feeling strangely similar to how life was before that happened. Please like and subscribe to support the channel.